I'm suffering at the moment. I really am struggling. I have good days, I have bad days, and when it's bad, it's crippling. It really is crippling. My entire day has been effectively wasted. It feels wasted. And that bothers me an awful lot because I'm someone that likes to be productive, even if it's just downtime and enjoying myself, a bit of light-hearted entertainment like gaming, movies, TV show, anything like that. You know, I can't even do that. I'm that bothered that the day's a complete standstill. And what it is, I just recently returned to TikTok, and there's so much negativity and hate, crime. It's widespread, and that's the trouble with negative when we post negative news and negative content like this. It consumes you. When I was younger, I enjoyed watching loads of documentaries and stuff, but now I don't like watching true crime documentaries. It seems a bit sick, to find entertainment in someone suffering. I don't like it. So when I watch these TikTok videos, it drains me. It really, really drains me. And it's quite heartbreaking, really, because especially with the younger generation, but it's not only the younger generation, it's everybody's doing it. So what's happened with social media, it's got to the point where everybody wants to be famous. Everyone wants to get that pot of gold. They want it. And they'll do anything to get it. For instance, guys are sort of pose and they constantly post maybe like hundreds of videos doing the same damn thing. They're sitting in a car with their sort of smouldering look, with their clean shaven appearance, and they're like, who would want to be with me, sort of stuff, and they it's all views and it's all for money. Meanwhile, women barely wearing anything and shaking their asses and stuff, and that's prevalent in itself. You'd say that's harmless, bit a bit shameful, I guess, but that's harmless in itself. But I think it just typifies that desire for people to have anything at any cost. They don't even have any self-respect. So if that's going to be the light side of it, think about the dark side of it. I'm seeing video content where people are doing carjackings, there's muggings, there's stores getting broken into, there's police trying to arrest people, and you've got gangs and stuff nearby sort of revving their motorbikes and mopeds and stuff while the police are trying to intimidate the police. You've got them where they're just like crashing into things and they're just running off. It's just unreal. It's like mass looting, and it's like, where does this end? Like I see the positives in humanity, and my books are all about healing and self-development, and really and taking yourself away from those situations. Really, it's more about being proud of ourselves, aspiring to be better and doing the best we can. So this content just goes completely against my core values and beliefs and what I strive for. And as I said, it's heartbreaking. It truly is heartbreaking to witness it, because the problem is that the youth are influenced by this. So, you can educate middle-aged people. You can educate maybe people in their late 20s. And they'll see the value in it, But the problem is, if the younger generation are going to continue down this path, all hell breaks loose, and nothing can be achieved. Of course, when there's negativity always ends up getting justice in the end. It's a waste of life. And I think what it is, I think people are trying to find value and validation in the wrong places. It's exciting when you're part of something, isn't it? With something that's maybe dangerous and something bad. But there's no loyalty there. Loyalty for the most part only extends to the value someone has for you. That's as far as loyalty goes. When it comes down to it, most people will favour themselves. So, again, people put themselves in the wrong places and situations. But if humanity was united, and we all work together to heal poverty, solve poverty for starters, because that's where most of the problems start. When there's poverty in one section, of course they're going to be resentful of others. But I think education as well, because I've done so much content on this where people are just constantly striving to have acquire more and more wealth. They don't know when to stop. So they keep taking. So eventually that transcends into taking from others. The greed is incomprehensible. It is incomprehensible. You know, if we consider the pirates, I like to do this because it's good for my own thought process. I just think of the pirates. You know, hardly endearing people. And you look at them, they got peg legs, hooks for hands. You know, it's just they were punished. Really, they were punished, and they lost a lot to acquire what they had. Was it worth it? No. You know, they just wasted the money on drink, drugs, and well, because it was mainly men. At least what I've seen, they spend it on women. So, of course, the money is short-lived, so they have to keep doing it again and again and again and again just to have that little bit of happiness. So, obviously, they're finding happiness in the wrong place because that's not sustainable. And look at the chaos that has to be caused to try and attain that. Whereas if you can learn to love yourself, appreciate and be proud of who you are, and not seek validation from others but from within ourselves, well, that changes everything entirely, doesn't it? Because we're not going to have to then hurt anybody to be happy and to feel proud of ourselves and feel good. But that takes time and effort. You have to go through a range of emotions. You have to be honest with yourself. You know, you have to humble yourself and have integrity and authenticity. Too many people want to take the easy way out, so they cause havoc in not only their own lives but everybody around them. And I had a conversation with my sister recently. We was talking about like parenting our children and stuff. And I think some people have a naive attitude to society today. They seem to think, oh, it was bad enough back in the day. It's no different now. And I said, yes, it is different now. Oh, it is. It is incredibly different now. Because what's happened now, there's that lack of morals and there's a lack of compassion for other people. So where these crimes exist, there's no compassion for the victims. You know, there's no care for life. If someone doesn't value their own life, they're hardly going to value someone else's. So there's collateral damage, and people are getting seriously hurt, and innocent people are losing their lives so needlessly, absolutely needlessly. It's all over the news constantly, and it drives me absolutely crazy because it's needless. It's a waste. It's a travesty, is what it is. You know, I'm spiritual, so I believe we're here for a purpose. We're here if you say what's the meaning of life, it's to evolve our souls. So be more evolved, but by the time from the moment we're conceived, so our conception on earth, the whole point is to evolve, to be a better version of ourselves, a supreme being by the time we leave this planet. So to take that opportunity away from someone just because you felt slanted by someone, so maybe you're a bit upset, or you know your ego was attacked, or you know you wanted something they have. Any of those three things were worth more than someone's life, more than their opportunity to evolve, and have this whole life experience. Just because someone doesn't value their lives, they have no right to take it away from somebody else. You know, just because they're lost, don't take it out on someone else. You know, so I'm having a real hard time at the moment. I really am. I mean, I'm going through things in my personal life anyway, so I've got other things going on. So this is just like added to it, but this is more mortality. This is all more our existence and being, which for me is more profound than anything. You know, you can have little issues like maybe we change jobs, maybe relationships ends, maybe you got bills that are mounting, maybe there's issues in your life. Yeah, they're fun. You could say they're fundamentals, but in the overall scheme of things, they are not huge. We think they're huge. Our mortality is what matters, and how we leave this planet matters. It really does matter. You know, you can't just come here and then cause havoc and then say, "Who cares? Who cares?" Because we're affecting the planet for generations. Every generation affects the next generation. You know. But this generation is really, really concerning me, because if you're going to have absolutely it's complete disregard for life in general, then this planet hasn't got a chance in hell of surviving, is it? You know, but there is such good in this world. But I just believe that those of us who want to do good and are here to instigate change, I think we're the minority. At one point I thought maybe more, because I started seeing more and more people like awakening, and more people seeing the light, and more people seeing, the beauty of life, and how we can sort of inspire positive change. But then you see this widespread crime, looting, and attacks and things, and you're just thinking, whoa, this is a different level. At that level, when you witness it, you think, I don't even know if that can be healed. How the hell? I mean, obviously we can only start with ourselves in the first place. So I can only really, on a fundamental level, I can only really heal me first. I can change my perspective on life, my attitude to living, my attitude to experiences. And once I've done that for myself, which I have done, I then share that and try and develop other people to help them, feel proud about themselves, and then don't seek validation from others, and sort of put yourself in the situations that you want to be in rather than what you're forced to be in. Then you find your happiness, and then hopefully that person then helps someone else, and then that's how we sort of do it. But I think this culture at the moment with social media is out of control, and social media is to blame. People are responsible for their own actions. So, of course, if someone does something, you don't have to follow the crowd. You choose to do that, it's your own fault. So the repercussions are there for people to take responsibility. But the problem with social media is it's given a platform for this stuff to just be rife. It just takes off like crazy. And people are bored. There's less to do nowadays than there was in the past. But I think technology has taken over where we're not ready for it. It's all still quite new, and it's still evolving, of course. So the problem is we haven't really got anything historically to fall back on for education. You go further back, none of this existed, and people were actually a bit more, I say, innocent, maybe more basic, but you actually just existed and coexisted. But now we're more isolated, I think. And if you want to be part of something, you join these groups and these situations. But so like when there's something happening, I watched a video today, and I was really getting irritated. One of it was like a mass looting in London, and everybody's laughing together. There's massive groups. There's hundreds of people, so they all think it's hilarious together, But I'm thinking of the poor business and the poor innocent people that are caught up in the middle of it. What did they do to deserve this? What chance is there in life if you're just going to have everything taken away from you every time you try and build? Just because someone finds it hilarious, someone found it funny, someone had nothing else to live for, so they thought they'd just ruin someone else's life. It comes down to character, integrity, character, and authenticity. It's just fundamental things of our existence. But so many want to take the easy way out. So the easy way out, they think there's no consequences to anything. Of course, they get caught later. CCTV exists, and then eventually they start getting knocks at the door by the police and things. But the damage is already done. And there's a new wave of people doing it again. So even if you dealt with that group, there's still another group coming. And so, I think the trouble with social media is, of course, there's a need for free speech as well. If you started to sort of ban and take content down and marshal it, then I suppose you could say you're silencing things. But I think maybe education starts at home. Parents should be looking after their children and stopping this from happening in the first place. And I think this is where I was coming round about my family when I was talking to my sister about things. I'm far more protective, so I don't think, like for instance, my daughter, I wouldn't really have in these situations, because I'll be monitoring her and talking to her and educating her. So she'd value life more. And I think if you don't value life in general, and then you have children, what we're teaching them, it comes down. A lot of it comes down to parenting anyway. But I wouldn't say it's solely the parenting fault. But in the past, I would have said so. But our environment can dictate us too. So if you go to school and college and you're surrounded by certain characters and people, so it can be a hard place to be, where you stand up to people and you keep your morals in check when you're the odd one out. So then peer pressure starts to take over, doesn't it? And I think that's where a lot of people are susceptible to it. And like I said, people are bored in general. Everything's hard. Everything seems hard to acquire, so it's easy to take. But I think it goes beyond that. It goes beyond how hard something is to take. It's that level of greed. And you see it everywhere, because you see the YouTubers that are rich and famous. They've got no discernible talents. Nothing really stands out as like wonderful. But they just did something and gained a following from it. And then obviously other people have seen that and thought, I want a piece of this. And they're just constantly looking to take. I mean, at the moment, I think one of the big things is Rolex watches. If someone's got a fancy watch, man of hell they have to go through just because they own something nice, you know. So it makes you think, what is the point of even striving to have? Because it comes down to something else as well. Because there was either a video or something in my book I wrote before. I was in my book. I wrote about, what's the point of sharing our successes and our growth with people if they're going to try and bring us down at the first time of success? You know, because most people are looking for their own success. And any progress from someone else is seen as a negative on them. You know, so your success, it means that they failed, but that's not true at all. You know, we all just succeed at different times, and we all progress at different rates. But yeah, we shouldn't be bringing each other down. You got to grow together, and we got to learn together. But there has to be on a basic level an appreciation of life itself, and take this opportunity to learn and grow and heal. Because when we get to the end, whether people agree or not is really irrelevant. It's irrelevant if, let's say, for instance, there is a God. And let's say we have angels, we have spirit guides. Spirit guides can be our ancestors and people from past lives. And, you know, on a basic level, our souls are spirits. So we're attached. So our spirit is attached to our body energetically. So that's why we have our soul. So some of us are wiser than others, which is why sometimes they say wise head on young shoulders, because your soul is vastly experienced. And that's why I see it as people that don't believe anything, I just see as an innocent soul. You know, someone that's just not had the experiences yet. So those of us that are more experienced and are more awake and more respectful of life, our souls are more advanced because we embrace the experiences and we grow and evolve. So we take life seriously when we get the opportunity. So when we get to the end, let's say we get to the end, our soul spirit detaches from our human earthbound vessel, that's all it is. It's just a vessel. When it's gone, it's gone. It's just, when someone dies, it's not the end for eternity. It's just the human experience's ends. So let's make the most of the opportunities we have, because we can't take any day for granted. So then if at the end of that, we are placed in front of God, our angels, our ancestors, our friends from past lives and from this life. So everybody we've known. And then we have to see how far we've developed. Did we grow? Did we evolve? Did we let anybody down? Did we let ourselves down? Do you really want to get to the end and then have so much regret? That's the point. That's the point I'm really getting at. You can either live a life of regrets, and then you're going to be held accountable on the other side, on the afterlife, or do the best you can, instigate positive change, but on a basic level, evolve yourself, be the best supreme version you can be. Then when you get to the end, you're proud of everything. You know, life can be long, life can be short. We don't get to say how long it is. Either way, we all know we're going to die eventually. And that's just something we're going to have to make peace with. So when you get to the end, are you going to be at peace? And that's for us all to determine. But I can't say someone doing negative things and bad things is really going to find peace in the afterlife. It doesn't seem natural, does it? It doesn't seem like that's really going to be viable. It just seems that people have just wasted their time. And that's why I say, even when it comes to love and relationships and things, if we get love too late in life, it's sad. It's sad because we get it, but we don't get to enjoy it long enough. So time just gets away from us. So time is incredibly precious, and it's not really something I take for granted. So when I see things as setbacks, it bothers me a lot because it's like I'm aware how short time is. Like I say, none of us are just going to keep living to old age. Someone can have ill health, but then you could have a family member that's really ill, and you think, I don't want to lose them, but you could die before them because anything can happen at any moment. So it's important that we don't just waste it. We don't waste our time. And I just think value and appreciate life, We have to. But anyway, so it's bothering me an awful lot because it just comes down to our existence. We can't. I think some of us are here in different time periods where it's freaking harder than other times. But I think when you go back through history, when was there ever an easy time? We go back. Let's say every time you go back 100 years, it's chaos. I mean, I can't pretend to understand all of history, but if we just look at it like you got the world wars. Let's learn from history a little bit here. You had world wars. There's people in power, people that wanted power and control, and they're greedy as hell, and they're prepared to destroy entire continents and countries. Just to have that power and dominance. So then we get away from wars to an extent, although those wars constantly exist because there's always someone that can't relinquish power and wants to dominate. But even within society, we've got the same problem. So people are always just looking to dominate and control. But when does it ever end well? That's the part that's crazy. When does it ever end well? There's just so much collateral damage. Why can't we just find peace and bliss and we all just live alongside each other? How is it that hard? I don't understand. Because then if we go before the wars, you go back into other generations, you start going into the Victorian times and stuff, and I don't think even that was a very nice period. Of course you have a lot of illnesses and stuff, and it's just poverty. And then we go into the medieval age. I don't suppose anyone even lived long there. If people lashing swords everywhere, that's probably a short-lived life. I just think throughout history, I would love to know if there was ever a period when there was peace, because I don't think there ever has been peace. And I'm finding it more and more demoralising that I don't think I'm going to find peace in this lifetime. So, I think we've all been brought here for a purpose. Maybe we can instigate peace for future generations, but it's certainly not going to be in my time. So, the books I've wrote are about healing journey, spirituality, a bit like what I've just spoke there. But I don't think really I'll get to see the benefits of it. I think it'll be for future generations if my book is worthy of being remembered. But I think, it's just all I can do is the best I can, I guess, for my daughter and future generations, really. I just feel like I'm a bit depressed. I'm a bit down. Because I'm not really seeing the world progressing. It just seems to be regressing. So everything's going backwards. We may as well end up just donning our army fatigues and get ready for the next world war. Let's get ready to be nuked.